Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Creative Council. My name is Natasha, and today we're going to be discussing the topic of children and kids, what they can mean in a dream. So, usually, if you're having a dream about a child, depending on what's happening, on the positive side, it's going to they represent innocence, faith, and trust. Children are childlike faith. Children are very trusting. They can represent a legacy, a heritage, a generation and fruitfulness of the generations, like the Bible says. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them, talking about children. So they are a blessing of the Lord, and they should be seen as a blessing of the Lord. So in a dream, that's what they can represent. Also, can represent, like I said, heritage or legacy. The Bible says a wise man lays up wealth for his children, his children's children, his grandchildren. So that indicates and is a strong indication of legacy there. So on the positive, like I said, they're very innocent, they're very trusting, and it can represent a childlike faith. Now, it can also be showing you something going on within a generation or going on with children of a generation and your call and your role in that. So, for instance, someone had a dream that they were on as a camper driving, and they opened the door and they saw this little girl. Her hair was kind of disheveled. She was dirty, and she looked, kind of concerning. Then the lady closed the door. She opened the door again and she saw this huge green grass all around. She stepped outside. There was this hole in the ground with this creature that was beautiful but demonic. And it was coming out of the ground and it looked at her. She looked at it and they saw each other and she knew she needed to get back into the camper. And so that dream was indicating, in the instant this child represents um, kids who are being trafficked, kids who are in bad situations, and her role and her call, because she was in a camper, which is a traveling ministry, and she was called to step in and do something about that. And that was the gist of it, in that she was going to be coming up against a strong, very strong uh, principality in doing so. And and it looked like it was offering something good, but it was not. It was very demonic and wicked and evil. And it was coming up, and she had stepped on its territory. It saw her and she saw it, but she needed to get back into the camper because it was a place of safety and refuge and ministry to recoup and get back to what the Lord was wanting her to do as far as strategy to come against that thing to free these children. So, like I said, it can just be a representation of their innocence, but they usually represent something, and usually within a generation when it's coming up like that. So, God could be showing you something to do, like I said, with that generation, because you're called to influence, impact, or shift that generation and those children. And now, and for her instance, it was dealing with trafficking, which is a prevalent issue in our day and age, sex trafficking with children. Um, and so, on the positive side, or sorry, on the negative side, it's going to represent immaturity. So children are immature; they're not fully developed, right? So children can be very petty and childish and carnal, right, and selfish. So it can represent that. They also are very naive, very trusting, and so that can not be a good thing because they will go talk to strangers, or just very curious, and that can get them in trouble a lot of times. So it could be indicating that. Now, if it's a person, or you see something or some individual acting and you see that it's them being when they were younger and they're doing something odd or acting crazy, that is telling you or showing you that's a level of immaturity. It's a immature person, a person who is either ignorant or is just very carnal, or naive. It could be that as well. Well, so what about a pack of children, like a group of children? So a group of children on the positive side is going to represent really it's going to have to do with you. If you're seeing a group of children, that's showing you, that could be showing you that you're called to teach. Now, when Jesus had taught people, they would sit at his feet. Children usually sit at the feet of their teachers, or someone who is they look up to. So that could be a role that God is calling you and preparing you for, is to teach. And this is showing you that these people, they could represent also um, a group of people, and that's one thing I wanted to say too. So even with the positive side, it could represent people who don't necessarily have a strong defense or someone to fight for them. People groups who don't have a s- those who are standing up for them. So it could represent women. It could represent women who are battered or maybe abused. It could represent orphans. It could represent single moms. It could represent any people group who may not have all the necessary things to do life and succeed in life because they have been oppressed or because they have been um, targeted by people who are wicked or who are just mean and nasty and don't want them to advance in life. So, in your call and your role to set the captive free or to help be a deliverer through the hands of God for these individuals. So, like when Jesus said, it's better for someone to throw themselves into the sea with a millstone than to touch these little ones. He was talking about physically little children, but also those who are um, those who are in need and who don't have a lot of defense or people fighting for them or people who are rallying behind them and for them, like I said, single moms or even widows and things of that nature. So that could be a representation of children as well in a positive light in your role with that. So like I was saying, with a group of children, in a positive, they're very receptive, they're submissive, they have a teachable spirit, and they're wanting to do what you say. They want to learn. They want to hear what you're having to say. And it depends on what's happening. Like I said, where you are, who you're teaching, what kind of children, what they have on, what you have on. That shows you your role as well. And so, what about on the negative side? Well, on the negative side, a group of children. When you look at it biblically, like when Elisha, I think it was Elijah, he was walking and then a group of kids came out and they started mocking him, calling him, "Go up, you bald head." Very disrespectful, right? And he turned around and cursed them, which is, may not have been the best thing, but, he did what he did. And two bears came out of the wilderness and devoured them all. Now, so that is going to represent a lot of time it depends on what they're doing, but if they're jeering and taunting, and kids can do that, like a group of kids will get around someone or something, they'll be mean, they can be really mean, a group of them. And so that could represent a rebellious spirit, mocking spirits, rebellious spirits of dishonor, spirits of dishonor, taunting and jeering, but generally that mocking spirit. And so you're going to want to pay attention. Now it can also means, something is wanting to take or divert your attention, because little kids will throw a temper tantrum to get attention. And so if you are having a dream where you're doing something and then all these kids or a kid does this and it's like they're screaming and crying and you're trying to do something and then you turn aside and see and then they vanish or whatever, that's just a diversion to get your attention off of what God is calling you to do, depending on what that other elements in the dream is. So you want to pay attention to things like that. So just to recap, kids in a dream on the positive, children, and depending on their age too, you want to look at that. Are they teenagers? Are they preteens? Are they like 5 and 6? That's the level of maturity. But to recap, so the positive is the innocence, trust or childlike faith and trust, legacy and heritage, fruitfulness, naivety, which can be a good or bad thing, the blessing, fruitfulness and blessings of the Lord, something God is going to do, the generational situations that are going on, them representing a generation of people, and also the future, because children represent the future. And on the negative side, it could be immaturity, someone who's not fully developed, or something that's not fully developed, ignorant, petty, carnal, selfish, and childlike, or not childlike, but childish. And on the positive, when it comes to a group of kids, it's going to be a call, indicating a call to you to teach or to lead, and the type of people you're going to be leading that are teachable, they're receptive, submissive, and not submissive in the way people make it seem today, but the biblical context of submission. But that's the positive, and then the negative is going to be mocking, tormenting, rebellious spirits, dishonor, taunting, jeering, or wanting attention. So, anyhow, I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Till next time, be healed, be whole, be free. Bye.